What was that?
I don't know.
Trying to figure out what that card was.
We are recording. We are live.
Okay, great.
Who's Dave versus Phil?
Yes. Did they just put their hand down? Yeah. Were they not allowed to start yet?
All right, Ronald, are you back?
Yes, he's back.
All right, is the recording started?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, get talking, and I'm going to go start the round.
Alrighty.
We've been talking.
I don't know if it was recorded or not, but like we were saying, us two, definitely two different decks from two totally different players. I mean, I'm sure you've played Dave way more than I have because you live in proximity, but I've played Phil thousands of games probably, and everybody knows his strategy. So hopefully Dave can be patient. I'm rooting for Dave here, not because I don't want Phil to win, but I just want to see Dave actually pull one out finally.
Yeah, Dave's, we've mentioned earlier, he gets in the top 8 very consistently, but just never win one. Phil, I'm on the fence. Phil is the defending champion, so you kind of want to see him get the three-peat, but you're naturally drawn to the underdog. So it'll be a fun game to watch.
Is this 1 versus 8? Is what this is?
Yeah, Dave is the 8 seed, Phil is the 1 seed. Now, one thing we've noticed from Dave playing throughout the day, Dave's strategy is he's actually running the card on Spider-Woman from reserve that makes any hits with a fighting icon count to venture toward a battle site. That's why he's so overloaded on fighting. Unfortunately, against Phil, that's not going to be as good.
Mm-hmm. He did get his event, though, right away, so that's good. Oh, he just ran. Wow.
Phil, did he go 3?
2.
I think he just went 2.
Okay.
Dave has Dave designs his decks generally to be really strong against Cadillac decks, so he felt really confident going into this. And I will say, Phil only managed to place 5 cards, which is not usual for the Cadillac. So Dave's going to be able to keep pace with him with his place cards. Dave's actually up a card on placing advantage, which is not where you want to be with the Cadillac.
Well,
yeah, you got to do. The first hand you saw, Phil drew a couple of any heroes, and he was only able to place 1. I believe that's the lockout. Is he playing that? Is that what he's got placed?
No, I believe that is actually the look at 5 cards from the top of your draw pile.
Okay.
Take one. So Dave has got his confusion placed. He did not get one of his events. Phil is loading up on Teamworks, as usual, like the Cadillac is to do.
One hand too late. Or one hand too early.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if Dave just bets low and tries to run. Phil goes another 2.
He's being super aggressive.
Yeah, he knows he's got the advantage. He's going to lean on Dave, and because he can't prolong and let Dave hit an event.
Yeah, that's smart play by Phil for sure. Oh, he's got to draw 3 in his hand too. See that?
It looks like he has the draw 3 and the 4 intellect to make an additional attack. Dave's playing pretty close to the vest, so we can't see what's in his hand. It lets the 3 hit. Phil follows next with the 4 against Heroes for Hire.
I believe he does have a negate placed, though.
He does, but with that Raza and 8 multi, I can't imagine you're going to see the negate used here.
That'd be smart to hold off just.
I'm saying you were talking about the draw 3, so he does have a negate, but, what do? Do you got to negate Raza and hope he whiffs on the 3.
Unless he's got something in his hand that can defend it with Muir Island.
Yeah, that's one of the main drawbacks of Muir Island is no negate. It's such a good site, but still at the same time. There we go.
Yeah, so that's a big swing. He's using teammate avoid an attack with a special, and then Dave's going to get to draw a card. Let's see if Dave can turn his traditionally bad luck on draws around and get a keeper here.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, Dave. Keep this card, please.
It looks like it's a keeper. And it's a discard.
Nightcrawler. Gee whiz.
Oh, no, he's using the Nightcrawler.
Oh, okay. I was thinking in typical Dave fashion.
All right, he might force him to use that negate here or he's going to shut down a lot of his offensive pressure. Merlin is gone. That means Phil is down to only the negates from the Scarlet Witch. Phil's going to attempt to do this. Good card. Doesn't know he has the draw 3, and he's going to pull the negate. I mean, I feel like I would make the same play, but it's real sad when you know. Oh, Dave's also got the draw 3.
So he said, I got something for you too, sir. That's what he said.
Draws 1.
Dave.
Looks like a keeper. Draws 2.
Come on, Dave.
Keeper. Draw 3. Is he going to get to keep all 3?
Come on, Dave.
Wow. So Dave connects.
Oof. He kept 4 draws. That is above beyond. Wow, what a draw, too.
And Phil concedes with the draw 3 in his hand.
Oof.
And the good news there, too, is while Dave kept all those, it wasn't like there was any big bombs in those cards that he drew. It was mostly draw cards. So even though Phil let him draw the 3 and then ran, it didn't really eat up much power other than using the draw 3 off the battle site.
I did think I saw one of Moleman's negates, though, so that's one more negate down that he drew.
Dave dupes on the rescue operation from Spider-Woman in the back. Still has 7 cards in hand.
An update on the leaderboards. Phil Miller has overtaken Phil Keffer with 1,106 points to Phil Keffer's 1,090.
All right, let's go, Phil.
Nice. So Spawn gets the 9 or less avoid. He places the 11 on Starjammers. Phil is loading his guys completely up. They have an even number of cards right now going into this battle. If Dave can eat away some of this placing advantage and manage to either survive or even win a low bet here, he's going to start getting to... he's got 2 more huge events that are going to shut down all those teamworks. So Dave goes 1 from the top. Phil's got 1, but he may just go 1. Dave's reaching for the battle site, so they're going to do a little bit of fighting. Dave's going to put out, Britain's champion. Great choice.
Good play. That's huge when you're staring at that 11.
So Britain's champion stays out even after the battle's over. It allows Dave to shift a special card attack to it, and then it blocks the special card attack.
What is that? Any hero or any character that's placed on Phil?
Phil has the Gemini. The Gemini is the BMG reprint of Web-Headed Wizard.
Oh, okay.
So that Gemini card that he's asking about, which is placed on Phil's home base next to the green aspect, that's going to allow Phil to look through his dead pile, take a card out that's playable by his front line, and put it in his hand. Now, what you'll most likely see Phil do is try to get the draw 3 back at a crucial moment and replay that draw 3.
Well, someone ran.
Dave ran. I don't think I disagree. Dave wants to get that special card defense out. He's doing fine on placing. He's only giving up 1. He's only going down 1. And Dave wants to get those next hands and get to that event. If Dave misses any hero event right here, that's going to be devastating.
He made the smart choice there, for sure.
Oops, 7. Doesn't look like he got the event. So Dave getting a little unlucky. The 2 games we've seen him on camera, just not getting his events at crucial enough times.
He got it, the first hand where it didn't affect anything. Unlucky.
Yeah, the very next hand, Phil draws 3 teamworks, of course, because in true Phil fashion.
It must be very painful to sit with that horseshoe up there.
All right. Moleman, 5 energy, can't be defended by a special. It's a great card, not as good when there's been a lot of conceding and not a lot of damage out on the board. Phil loads up every placing slot he can place to with the exception of the second power card on the Starjammers. All his teamworks have special cards that are power cards to complete them. So Phil's placing advantage is completely online.
He's got 2 teamworks in hand. Yeah, he's and it looks like he had the Spawn pin as well, so he's probably going to swing here. Oh, nope. Dave is like, I'm out. Dave's really
again,
hedging on that event coming up and evening the playing field.
It was only a one venture, so not a terrible idea again on Dave's part.
Yeah, but you got to remember now, at this point, too, have we seen the no activator event from Phil?
No.
Because that's going to come up at some point and be devastating for Dave as well. All right, Dave has got no teamworks.
All right, no teamworks.
So now the great news about that is Phil can only place one teamwork. He can't use those ones. That lets Dave go to the next hand, and statistically, he may just draw no teamworks again next hand.
Ooh.
Both Mole Man 5s and a 4.
Jeez.
So that leaves Dave with
Four
what,
cards.
4 cards?
Yeah, wow.
Phil dropped 2 and can't use 3 of his teamworks. So Dave is still not in the worst position.
Man, I feel that pain though. Like you get what you're looking for, and then you have to discard half your hand. It's painful.
It's just bad timing. The last hand he had all power cards, and the one before that he had all activators. You kind of you need a mix when you're going up against Phil. Phil's not gonna dupe, and he's gonna run pretty consistent.
Yeah, that's the one thing we were talking about Phil and his deck building. He builds his deck way different than most players do. He way less on the power cards than normal players do, and he will bet one concede until he fills up like he's done here, and then he won't, like you say, he won't dupe on those power cards, generally speaking, unless it's a big one like the 8 or 7 or 6. But generally, like 4 or less, he doesn't dupe on.
Do you know, does he only run one of the 4 through 1?
No, 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and 2 4s.
Very interesting. And that's surprising to me, too. Like, one thing I do notice playing against Phil is he's always throwing those teamworks, like, with the big attacks, too. So it makes sense. I wouldn't be scared. I'd just never have him. But it makes sense the way he plays, that he's betting the 1 and the 1, getting the follow-ups placed before he's willing to do the fighting.
Yeah.
And I think, again, we've talked about this before, but knowing how to manipulate the ability to run and fight when you want to fight, that's a huge part of it. Dave's running again after he got that. He's putting Phil in a position where he can go for the win. I'm a little nervous about that. I think that was your opportunity where Starjammers is not going to have a lot of defense in that situation. You have to make him use up some of that defense and some of his tricks and just bank on getting the event. Because if Phil gets his no activators event here, Dave's just going to lose.
Yeah,
right.
Ooh, here we go.
It's going the other way. Phil got 3 duplicates. Looks like Dave has got 2, but did not get his event. Dave discards a JW and a Professor X.
That's kind of a bad cut for Dave too. You don't ever want to show that you have a JW. You kind of want to surprise your opponent with that.
As well as the Professor X off Muir Island. He knows not to throw the big Hail Mary specials.
And this is the other reason I don't like the concede last battle, because if Dave is to get his big event here, Phil can go 2 for the win, and then to really capitalize on it, you have to give him cards while you're going for the win.
Yeah.
So that's what Dave does. Phil goes 2 for the win. Dave bets the obligatory 2. That doesn't give him an advantage because he has to win to still be in the game. And we're going to start checking the teamworks. This is like 2 boxers who've been circling and poking for the first few rounds, and now they have to get in there and start to actually throw the punches and do the fight.
Yeah, the feeling out process is over. It's now it's time to rumble.
With Phil having 2 other multi-power cards placed, it's a tough call here what you're going to do.
Yeah, it's almost worth just taking that and risking it.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like he could have taken it there, and then he could have used the 3 in the training card to block the 7, and gained a 4 venture advantage off that block.
Yeah, I think that was a 9 though, right? When he threw it off the teamwork +2.
Oh, was the 7 coming off the teamwork?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Dave fires back with the teamwork. Phil defends the teamwork. Dave puts it to the side so he can track the bonuses. So this is most likely coming through as a strength so that he can then make the fighting follow-up. I believe Electra has a 4 strength.
The 7 will still only be a 9, not getting over the spawn, so he's probably going to hold on to it and throw it with the JW.
It looks like you're right. He is reaching for a card in his hand. So he's playing the 8. So he threw the 4 as a fighting. He's going to throw the 8 through as a 10. Phil is taking it. Now that gives Dave a lot of information. If Phil's taking that 8, he probably doesn't have the ability to block other things that are pumped up. Phil's trying to decide what he's going to do. Now remember, Phil still has that Gemini, and it doesn't look like Dave's got a negate. If Phil can play that Gemini, he's still going to go get a draw 3. So if McMillan's going to pull this out, it's going to be a little bit of a miracle at this point.
Yeah, he's down 7 cards to 11, not counting what's in the hand. So
is that counting the draw 3?
Not counting the draw 3, not counting what's in hand.
Yeah, just 14 cards to 7 at this point is a pretty big hill to overcome. I have to admit, I probably would have thrown the 8 at Starjammers. Starjammers has the best path right now to be able to kill by throwing attacks higher than a 4 and forcing him to use defense out of his hand to defend him.
Yeah, he also has the low power cards to fuel teamwork, so it was an interesting decision.
He was going back and forth. I thought that he was going to go through the Starjammers also, and then last second he decided to go to spawn, which was kind of confusing to me as well.
So Phil's got a negate in his hand that he can't see, and he's got a power leech that he's waiting to try to get through. Now the power leech is rough right here because the power leech will go right to the Britain's champion, but then it does open Dave up to getting a draw 3, an 11, and an 8.
Well, depending on what he calls, Dave might just use 2 cards from the Spartan training ground because that would be less than the 11 for venture. He is going for the win.
Now, that's a great point and not something I was considering. I always forget that when you play those new home bases, the Spartan training ground or the Dracula's armory, it gives you other cards that you can discard to pay the cost of the power leech.
Little permanent update. Tyler beats AJ and moves up to the semifinals.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you, Ronald. They've turned on some music in the venue. Are you guys hearing that at all? Because I'm fine with it, but I don't want it to be overpowering the stream.
It's
good.
Yeah,
it's just barely in the background.
Howard beat Larry in the consolation round. Moves on to play against Marcel.
So I feel
like man is dead. He's throwing the 11. Got to use the and then here comes power leech as a response.
And I think that's what he's trying to do is just get him to use up that power leech. Dave's going to make him use either an 8 or a 9 or less avoid with an ally, which is good. Now, the one thing, he doesn't have a 9 or less. Oh, he's going
to...
He negates it to slow it down, which allows him to then... Bill's got to throw the power leech here because he has no defense right now for the 6.
Oh. He doesn't. He goes and gets something, giving Dave an opportunity to land that 6 and possibly discard 2 cards in his hand. Now he knows the negate's gone. He knows Strange and Spawn have used their defense. He's looking at a pathway to Starjammers. Bam!
See,
discard.
I don't know what Dave was. I mean, He's going to
Phil.
have to drop either. Phil's going to have to drop either his drop 3 or his power leech. I think that was a big misplay there. I think Phil realizes it now, too. I wonder if he just wasn't tracking it back there. All right, Phil's going to do his draw 3. Gets looks like a duplicate 8.
And a pin, which is a little late in the game.
Dave might have an opportunity here. Let's go, Dave.
He has to block with the 8. Does he have a kill shot that can't be defended? Nope.
Oh.
So he's got a 7 intellect and a finite power. Now, I don't believe that Dave can discard the training cards to fuel finite power. So Phil could throw it out there and pin that 6. Dave's only got 2 cards left in his hand, but Dave has a significant venture lead.
Yeah. I misplayed, but
ooh, no specials.
We knew he had it.
Multi can't go there.
That was a dupe at the beginning.
I think you're going to see that 6 go right out there, and no, I thought he'd throw the 6 right against Spawn.
Oh, he already knows what's
He's like, this is done. Okay. Wow.
Phil already knew. This is turning quickly. Wow.
Yeah, and Phil can't actually fuel the teamwork right now either, so that he's just got the 8 and a 7 intellect special in his hand. I think it's safe to say here, Phil has paid the mole toll.
Yes, he has.
Now Phil's gonna not even be able to knock out Heroes for Hire. Dave passes. I believe Dave took it. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Plus 11 is 27. What's the middle card on Jammers?
It's the 6 discard 2.
All right, so Dave pulls it out. Wow, what a hand!
Misplay by Phil. Well done, Dave.
Well done, Dave, to capitalize. Yeah, you don't, and that's, man, you don't usually see. I don't think you ever see Phil make a misplay like that. If Phil just throws that power leech early to guarantee Dave has to use some kind of defense. Now, keep in mind, Dave would have defended it with a Professor X, but then Phil wouldn't have been stuck discarding all that stuff out of hand.
Is Phil already in the power pack? Was that what he was doing, offering the cut?
Oh, and he loses the teamwork.
Dave's going to lose all his activators.
Yeah, this is big.
Oof.
How many is it going to get for Dave? It only gets 2.
That's not bad.
Now, Phil gets a loss of a teamwork. He's going to have a spawn discard, but Phil has to go 4 for the win. Dave has a JW in his hand. Now, Dave's probably going to place that JW, and Scarlet Witch has the spontaneous combustion. So Dave has got a 7, Phil's got a 7, a 2. It looks like a 7 any power. He's got any hero avoid and a negate.
Yeah. If Dave's smart, he'll be super aggressive right here and do the ally and the JW and try to just take out Jammers right off the bat here.
If he's got the 8 in his hand, I think you'll see him throw the ally, the JW, and then auto kill Jammers. Phil has no defense of an 8 thrown off a JW right now.
And from looks of his hand, he had a 6 was the highest power card he had.
Now remember too, like Dave deceptively looks really weak offensive. Oh wait, Dave only has 1 card in hand right now.
Yeah,
did he place the JW on the home base?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so we don't know what it is. If it's something that goes with the training card, he could potentially defend Heroes pretty big.
He's got a punch right now. Phil's reeling, and you can't let him catch up.
Yeah, you got to just take out the Jammers, and then I think you try to take... Oh, he's going 4 for the win. He's giving Dave the 2 cards, and I don't disagree on this from Phil either. I mean, the calculation in Phil's head is he's probably going to make him discard the 11, and then he still has a negate if Dave has something in his hand.
Now, isn't there no teamwork?
No.
Yeah, no teamwork.
Yeah, no teamworks.
So he has one in his hand, though. Does it?
Oh, yeah.
So that would have had to have been placed, correct?
He
Yeah.
should have had to have placed that. I mean, technically, I believe that's a renege if Dave is wanting to call it. I know Dave doesn't usually do that. If he hasn't placed that, that could be technically a renege. That would mean Phil automatically loses the venture, and the hand is over, and Dave would win it +1.
I don't like to call reneges either, but it's something like this where you're at this high level of play. You have to start just calling your opponent out on these things, especially top 8. You just have to. I mean,
in the top 8, absolutely.
Top 8 against the 7-0 player like Phil, who's that good. Unfortunately, I think you do have to call that if it's seen. Now, at the same time, Phil went for the win. I don't know. It's a tough call on what I would do in that situation. So he had the 6 any to block the 6 off the JW. He's saving that, so he's still got the discard a placed card. I mean, I can't see not. All right, so he's just banking on Dave not having a special in hand. And I think if Dave's thinking about throwing this here, he must have a special that's pretty good. The 7 any power is enough to cumulative KO Heroes for Hire. It puts Phil ahead by 1 venture. Phil's got 1 card in hand. He's got a full avoid placed. Dave throws a 6, draws out the avoid. It's really going to come down to what this last card is. It is a 2.
oh no!
I could have sworn that was a teamwork.
It was not a teamwork. It was a 2 multi. So everything we said about Phil was wrong.
Yeah.
Phil was playing it exactly right. He did not have a teamwork.
My bad, Phil.
Goodness gracious!
Wow, what an end though. I mean, it really came down to the 1 card in Dave's hand. Dave was only going to be down there by a few venture. If he had any kind of power card or any venture generating card there, he just wins the game.
That was so close. Hats off to Dave, making the top 8
Very well
again.
fought game.
Yeah, I think that one hand where he just ran super early. I think that was the.
I agree. I think if that hand where Phil was able to go 2 for the win the next time under the event, if Dave had just fought that and eaten up a little bit of his advantage, knowing that all those anti-teamwork events are going to come up, I think Dave could have won that game.
Especially since he built most of his special cards into difficult to block situations. The JZ, the JW, Electra's 6 fighting can't be blocked with a fighting icon. You have to start getting some hits to have KO pressure.
Yeah, otherwise you can just ignore and let those cards hit, and they're not nearly as good.
Yeah, even if Phil used his power card defense versus those, like he runs such slim power pack that he might not have got power cards the next hand to fuel them back up. So I don't know. It was a tough call, I guess, unless you're in that situation.
But that's what it's all about. This was sort of a classic. This is a good example of one of the games where 2 players are just afraid to commit to the fight. There was a lot of conceding. I don't think they really started to throw punches till they were on the 5th hand in. And while that makes sense sometimes for the Cadillac, Phil pulled it off. It's a tough situation to be in because you're only going to get 2 or 3 hands before you have to reshuffle the power pack at that point. So, I think like we were watching, the Cadillac was out of gas. Phil just was in just enough a position to go for the win. I mean, even if Phil was down 1 more venture, I don't think he could have given Dave that extra card. I think that would have been enough.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of mutual respect. That's why they didn't want to pull the trigger, and Phil was able to eke out a win again.
All right. Well, that's gonna take Phil to the semifinal round, or to the quarterfinal round, and we're gonna see if Phil goes undefeated through the rest. Guys, I'm gonna jump off and go do some facilitating. We should. No one should really go anywhere because we don't finish the timer if the top 8 rounds end.
Alrighty.
All right. I'm gonna go get a glass of water. I'll be right back, gentlemen.